Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today I'm coming to you guys with breaking news out of Carson, California. Carson is essentially trying to ban firearms and firearm sales within the city limits, so let's talk about it. This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link down in the description box, become a member, donate when you can, and help fight for our Second Amendment rights. Okay, so here's what's going on. Carson is a city that's located in Southern California, and the Carson City Mayor and the Carson City Council are essentially trying to ban firearms within the city limits. So what the mayor is trying to do is he's actually trying to use property law. He is rezoning the city of Carson so that gun shops can no longer exist within city limits. So what he's doing is he's taking businesses, properties, structures, and saying that within 1 mile or 2 miles of this business, you cannot own or operate a gun shop. And so what he's doing is he's blanketing the entire city of Carson with these zones, which it would essentially force out the 8 existing gun shops that are already in the city and not allow for any new ones to be built because you can't build anything within the zone that they are regulating. So you can see right there, he's trying to force out all of the sales, transfer, and everything of firearms from the Carson city limits by simply zoning out the entire city. Now, another thing he's trying to do is to ban people from possessing their firearms outside of their house. Now, this is not verbatim, this is not a quote, I'm just paraphrasing here, but essentially the Carson City Mayor said that if you want a firearm to defend yourself in your home, he said then the firearm should stay in your home and you should not be allowed to bring it out of your home. So he wants to ban the possession of your own firearm outside of the house. I mean, how this would affect travel, to a range, to practice. I mean, even if you were outside the city limits and you bought a firearm and you wanted to bring it in back to your house, I'm not sure exactly how this would affect that because this is so overreaching and so broad that it's really difficult to pin down exactly what would happen after this. So he's trying to ban people from possessing their firearms outside of their home. Another thing that he's trying to do is he's trying to stop legal California concealed carry permit holders from carrying within city limits. So he's saying that Carson essentially is a gun-free zone, and if you have a concealed carry license, then you cannot enter the city of Carson if you're carrying that firearm. So he's trying to stop concealed carry holders, he's trying to ban gun shops essentially, and he's trying to make it so that you have to leave your firearm inside your house. I mean, I'm sorry, this guy is a complete nut job, a complete wacko, and how he ever got elected is just completely beyond me. But let me go ahead and read you guys some of these quotes. The first one is a quote from the mayor talking specifically about the gun shops, okay? He says, technically, legally, you can't ban dealers in the city, but we can regulate where they cannot be, and we're saying we don't want you in Carson. Okay, so that's a quote from the mayor about having gun shops in Carson. So he says he knows that he can't outright ban gun shops in the city, so he's going to rezone the city so that they won't be there because, again, he says they don't want him there. When he speaks of they, he's really just talking about himself. Now, another quote that I have here is basically his reasoning behind why he's doing all this. So he says that this is being driven pretty much by his conscience, okay? Even though there hasn't been any mass incidents in Carson and, nothing like that has happened, he sort of wants to take these steps ahead of time for his own conscience. So I have another quote here. It says, to propose something like this after a mass shooting is too late. And I don't want to weigh on my conscience that we could have done something sooner rather than after the fact. So he's saying that, look, he's going to go ahead and just do all of this stuff now so that his conscience is clear should something happen in Carson in the future. Now, if you're watching this video on the day that I made it, make sure you check out the date this video is uploaded. I believe the Carson City Council is actually going to be holding a meeting on this topic. So if you live in Carson or you live around Carson, whatever the case is, and you just care about the Second Amendment, see if you can get over to that Carson City Council meeting and voice your objection to this. Maybe you can even educate them a little bit about the Second Amendment, about our individual rights, about our right to keep and bear arms. If you can get there and you can voice your dissent on these proposed topics, then this is your time to do it. You have to do it as soon as possible. Now, obviously, this is completely unconstitutional, what he's trying to do. It is unconstitutional on its face, and more than likely it would get overturned in court. But we don't want this to set precedents for other cities in the future. We don't want other cities to come forward and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. LA, Los Angeles, has tried to do a lot of things that ended up getting turned over as well, just because of the decision of one specific mayor, and that mayor has complete control over the Democratic body that is below him, and so he can unilaterally do what he wants, and that's essentially what's happening in Carson too. So Carson is trying to essentially say that the Second Amendment doesn't exist in Carson anymore. We don't want gun shops, we don't want gun dealers, we don't want people to have firearms outside their house, even if they're legal concealed carry holders. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if there was ever a time for people in Carson to stand up and fight for their Second Amendment rights, it is right damn now. So do it today.